got a wonderful speaker here, and I'd like to recognize a few people. We got Joe DeVrovel over here, who's the 3-time Masters champion, world champion in the bench press. Stand up, Joe. We've got Chip Minton back here, who's a member of the U.S. bobsled team in 1994, and will be with the bobsled team coming up next year, 1998, in Nagano, Japan. And he's also with the WCW. Thanks, Chip. There are a couple of other people, several other people I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank Bob Berg from SIDS, who did just a wonderful job with all the food and everything in the back, and the fruit. Everything is just wonderful. I'd also like to thank Brian Taylor from Between the Bread. I'd like to thank the Chesapeake Bagel Bakery. I'd like to thank Carrabba's. And I'd also like to thank Outback and Terry. Where's Terry? Terry Svensson.
Here.
Terry, thanks. Terry's donated some stuff from Nature's Best. Sandy Ellis. And Sandy's donated some things from Weightlifting Equipment of Georgia. So, and we've got plenty of chairs over here if y'all need to find a place to sit down. So y'all just come on up and sit down. We got plenty of chairs over here. We got some more over here. Now, I'd like for y'all to meet a man who really doesn't need an introduction. He's a wonderful person. He was here 9 years ago with us, and he's back here again. Bill Pearl.
Thank you very much. This is really nice. I was making a comment. Next month I'm going to be in Atlanta. No, excuse me. I'm not going to be in Atlanta. I'm going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, doing a seminar with Dorian Yates. And he's the Mr. Olympia winner. And the guy's probably got the greatest physique that we've had in years. And I was talking to my friend here, Chris, who I trained with this morning, and I said, listen, I said, when we're back in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I'll guarantee you, Dorian Yates and myself will not fill as many chairs as in here today. And so I figured I have about 15 or 20 people up here. And I'm really astounded. I know it's not me, it must be the weather, but whatever it is, we're going to have some fun. And I want to thank Skibo and his wife for having me back. This is not a money-making situation for me. Skibo's been a very good friend of mine for years. Skibo's gone through some bad times with his health problems, and I want to do anything I can to support Skibo with his attitude toward life and the club, and the type of atmosphere that he's bringing back. This whole Macon area is phenomenal, because Skibo has the type of a club that you can bring your kids to, you can bring your family to, and you're going to be treated as a gentleman. There's never a problem. I trained this morning. Everybody got along just well. And it's really, truly a pleasure for me to be around people like you with such positive attitudes. And it's because of the people at the front desk, it's people just like Skibo, that makes me keep going. I hope that we can do about an hour of this little seminar, and then we're going to quit and get something to eat. And I want to give you a bit of a background on myself so you'll understand where I'm coming from. To begin with, I am a former Mr. America winner. I've won the Mr. Universe contest on 5 different occasions. I've been a Mr. USA winner and all those types of things. But perhaps the most thing that I'm the most happy about is the fact that I've trained 9 Mr. America winners that have been my training partners. I've trained 14 Mr. Universe winners. I've trained a Mr. Olympia champion. And all this has become from things that I've done over the years that I've trained, the last 55 years that I've trained. I've passed down little things that help these people become a champion in the sport that I love so much. So today on this seminar, I'm not going to sit up here and preach to the merits of vitamin C or vitamin E or your B vitamins. I'd like to leave this open to questions and answers, because this is how we're going to learn. I'm sure Chris can ask a question that probably everybody in this room would like to have asked or have answered, and by that, if we can get to questions, I'm not going to get stuck on just one particular subject and ramble on and on and on. Now, if you'd like to ask me questions like, where do I think the sport of bodybuilding is going to go? I'll tell you. If you're asking me, is drugs still a very important sport of the sport of bodybuilding? Again, I'll tell you. If you ask me how many calories you should burn to lose a pound of body fat, again, I'll tell you. But let me know what you want, and we'll take it from there and see how well we do. Mr. Montgomery, let's start with you, big guy. This gentleman had the first health club in Macon, Georgia.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay.
I've been hearing about creatine, and you know, I'm past 40, Bill.
You're past 50, you're past 60, come on.
So I'm looking for some help.
All right.
What do you know about it? I know you know about it.
He asked about the food supplement called creatine. Is it any good? The answer is yes, it is good. What creatine does, it retains water in the muscle. Everybody here in the room, you have the water content of your muscle somewhere between 63 and 73%. All of your muscle is 63 to 73% water. And anytime you commence to dehydrate a muscle, your strength curves are going to drop dramatically. You dehydrate yourself by 3%, you lose 15% of your strength right down the line. So what creatine does is it keeps the muscle full of water. So consequently, you're stronger from doing this. But if you're going to take creatine, you should also take large quantities of water at that time. Drink a lot of water when you're taking creatine. And it will definitely make a difference on the impact on your strength.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Miriam.
Can you explain in what situations a workout program where you're lifting weights without a day of rest would be acceptable?
Miriam is a personal trainer, and prior to coming up, she asked me the question. She has several ladies that she trains with who just want to be fit. They don't want to be a bodybuilder. They don't want to look like the girls in the magazine. They just want to please their husbands. And what should she do? She has them on very light weights, and she's doing high repetitions, but she wondered if it was necessary to have a day of rest in between, simply because they should say work out a day, then rest a day, work out a day, and rest a day. Well, if you're not taxing your body a great deal, Miriam, you're just going through the motions, you're using 15-pound dumbbells in exercise, and you're physically capable of handling 30 to 35-pound dumbbells, you could probably be trained 2 or 3 days times a day and not have a problem, because your body will recover from a workload with 6 hours rest and sleep and proper nutrition. Your whole body will recover in around 6 hours time. So that again is a fallacy.
At what point do you know that you start needing that day of rest?
If you're training to the point where you're maybe 85% or 90% of your maximum effort on a training day, you should probably take a rest in between, or at least not work that same muscle group the following day. But some people train 6 days a week. I train 6 days a week. I have no trouble whatsoever. I've done it for years. Yes, Mr.
Bill,
Montgomery.
you work your whole body each day.
Mr. Montgomery asked for work my whole body every day. If I'm on the road a whole lot, I do that, yes, because I don't want to go back and not have done any leg work for 4 or 5 days to get some young kid to blow me away. I don't want to do that. So I'll work my whole body every day, but normally I try to split my body up and maybe work half the body one day and half the next, back and forth. But a lot of people are now saying work one muscle group per week. Work your chest on a Monday, work your chest again on a Wednesday or next Monday, and arms on a Tuesday, again arms on a Tuesday. And that is a mistake to do this, because your body loses strength at a rate of 5% for every 72 hours you don't work a muscle group. Your body loses that strength at the rate of 5%. So you're going to probably just stay on a status quo basis doing training your body just 1 day per week. It's just not enough.
Bill, I've had a lot of trouble with people who overtrain, people who want to gain weight, want to gain strength. But I find out they're working 6, 7 days a week. Workouts that last up for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Your workout doesn't last.
No, I only train 2 hours a day, Mr. McCormick. I'm better than that. But then again, you have to understand I've done this for the last 55 years. That's a different ballgame. But what a person, you can overtrain. There's no question that you can overdo anything in your life. But there again, if a person walks in and say, I get this, you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, say, oh man, today's squat day. I get a squat today. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Man, if it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to be there squatting. You've probably got yourself a problem. You should probably get off the squats and try something else. That's not a good idea. If it's getting you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're overtraining. Way in the back.
Yeah, when you're training for mass, what would be the optimum length that your workout should be, and how many days a week should you rest?
Okay. The comment there is if you're training for mass, how long should your workouts be, and when your rest days are, along those type of lines. There again, there is no guidelines or rules to weight training. There's probably isn't anybody in this room that trains the same, and everybody makes good progress. So the bottom line of it is you should keep a record of everything that you do and find out what works best for you, and then go from there. But don't just randomly take any program you see in a magazine and shoot for that, thinking that's going to do the job for you, because some world-class athlete does this. Most of those guys in magazines are going to grow. If they stood in the corner and just bounced up and down on their head, they're going to respond. Right? So you can't use those as a criteria as to what you're going to do. So keep track of what you're doing, keep records of what you're doing, and then you'll find out for yourself what works best for you. Yes?
You hear that it's no, you're never too old to get started, or you ever too young to get started. You also started about 10 years old?
Yes.
Do you recommend that?
He asked, is it probably never too old to get started? Is it perhaps too young to get started? And I think the answer is probably yes. I would wait till a child got into manhood or womanhood before I started on a weight training program. And then I would do it under supervision. I would not let the kids see how much they can bench press or how much they can squat or how much they can deadlift. The smart thing to do is manage these kids very, very closely And in my opinion, you should probably tell them, hey, look, if you're interested in popcorn or football or whatever it may be, we can make you a better soccer player, whatever, better basketball player. If you lift weights, you'll become a better athlete. And I would push them towards team-type sports, not individual sports.
But you did start at 10?
I started at 10, but there again, I had nobody tell me I should have done that. Yes, Chris.
Free weights versus machines. What do you think of
Okay.
that?
The comment is free weights versus machines. I believe in free weights and I also believe in machines, and I think the older people were probably more prone to using machines rather than free weights because it's easier on your skeletal structure. As an example, we were doing a lot of hammer strength exercises this morning. You're in the machine, you can't do anything wrong other than push and pull, and your body's supported, so there's probably less chance of injuries. But if you're looking for variety and a lot of probably growth and more of an incentive type thing, barbells and dumbbells are probably better. And if I had young kids like these here and I got them on a program, I'd definitely start them out with barbells and dumbbells rather than on the machines. Yes.
Have you found yourself going more to machines as you get older than using the free weights?
He's asked the question, have I found myself going more to machines? Chris can answer that. He trained with us today. The answer is yes, I have. Everything on me hurts. Guy said, geez, I got a bad elbow. What do I do to correct my elbow? I say, go out and hurt your knee. Your knee hurts so bad your elbow go away. That's the fallacy we go by. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any special pointers for women attempting to do weight training?
She asked if there are any special tips for women to do weight training, and the answer is no. The women's body works just like the men's body, and anything that's good for a man is good for you and vice versa. The main thing is to spend some time on yourself every day, quality time on yourself every day. And most women, if you just watch your eating habits relatively closely and just keep toned up, you'll do just fine. No. Yes, Chris?
Now, you're a vegetarian. What kind of food do you eat to get your energy and stuff like that?
Well, I'm what they call a lacto-ovo-vegetarian. Yeah, he made the comment I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat any fish, fowl, or red meat, and I haven't in the last 35 years. I have some dairy products in my diet. I eat a lot of eggs, low-fat cottage cheese, yogurt, low-fat cheeses. I eat a lot of lentils, beans, brown rice, baked potatoes, those types of things, and a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's it. If I'm real good, my wife might give me some popcorn, and that's all. I live a very Spartan life. It's ridiculous.
No dessert.
Sometime. Yeah. He asked if I ate egg yolks. Yes, I eat egg yolks, yes. I'm not worried about the cholesterol. Yes, ma'am.
How good is a dairy-free diet for you? My son is completely vegetarian, now he's cut out all dairy products.
She asked the comment, how good is a dairy-free diet? If as a bodybuilder, you're probably going to have a problem simply because he's not going to consume enough legumes and so on to get ample protein for muscular growth and repair. I would try to keep some type of a dairy product in my diet if I want to be a bodybuilder to make any noticeable progress. I would probably do that. Being a vegan and a bodybuilder is probably not a good idea. You'll be fit, you can run marathons. A guy could run forever and never drop dead from a heart attack, but he's not going to look like anything other than a marathon runner. Yes, sir.
What do you think about meal replacement products like Metrics?
He asked what I think about meal replacement products like Metrics. I just wish I owned the company Metrics. I wouldn't be here talking to you today. It's like anything else. You need ample amount of protein in your diet, but you don't need an assorted amount of protein. And this has been going on, this protein thing has been going on for years. And all the amino acids you can get, the only thing that you don't get the amino acids from is air and water. And if you're eating good natural foods that we're eating, you're getting 35 to 40 to 50 grams of protein per day. That could be enough for most anybody in this room. So you don't need 200 and 300 grams of protein per day to grow muscle. But you need quality program with all the essential amino acids. Yes, ma'am.
When you eat your vegetarian diet, do you pay attention to complementary amino acids to make sure that you get the proper mix? Like beans have one set, and I forget what they go with, wheat or something.
Mm-hmm. She made the idea, do I plan my diets very, very closely, don't I? And no, my wife does all that. That's why I look and I get shorts and I open the drawer, I got socks in there, I got t-shirts there, it's phenomenal. So I don't fool with any of that stuff. That's my wife's job. But I really think you can get carried away. But I wouldn't do meal planning such as that. If you're eating from the 5 basic food groups and other than the meats, and you're getting some type of a dairy product in your diet, I don't think you'll ever have a protein deficiency in your body, ever. Yes?
One is doing strength training with shoulders. She concentrates more on the presses and less on exercises like front raises and side laterals.
He made the comment, if you're training for strength for the shoulders or overhead military presses, probably better than side laterals. I'm just curious, what do you do for a living? What do you do? Are you
Well, self.
okay? Are you a trainer?
No.
You got some pretty heavy-duty questions and all typed out. I'm going to get in trouble with you before it's over. Probably the military presses would probably be better because it works all of the three heads of the deltoid rather than the side laterals. And there again, if you want to get strong, get big shoulders, push heavy weights overhead, that's exactly what's going to happen. Your body responds to workloads. If you sit all day as a secretary, can any secretary tells me what grows? If you sit all day? Okay. Your body responds to workloads. It gets big because it's easier to sit on. Same thing with your body. The stronger you are, the more you push, the bigger, better you're going to get. Plain and simple. Yes.
What do you think about like you get a positive nitrogen balance? Like you said, 30 to 45 grams of protein, but would that be enough to give you a positive nitrogen balance? And I mean, if you're doing some real serious, intensive training, you're going to need some protein. I was just wondering the amount.
If you'll sit down and analyze, go to any doctor, any sports medicine doctor, he can tell you probably anywhere between 50 and 60 grams of protein will do just exactly what you want to do. And you've got to understand that you can gain weight on protein just as you can a carbohydrate or a fat. It's a fuel that your body can burn. And if you don't use it for protein for muscular growth and repair, you will store it as fat. So you can overdo protein like you can overdo anything else. And I'll be right with you in 1 second. Another comment too. There's a lot of people who load up heavy on vitamins and minerals. I mean, take handfuls of stuff every day. And my comment to you is, once your body has all the vitamins and minerals and protein that it can use, it then has to be kicked out of your system because it then becomes as harmful as an anabolic steroid. So if you're loading up heavy on all these types of health foods and saying, man, this is great, I'm taking 50 liver and yeast tablets per day, and I'm loading up on this, I'm loading up that, that could be as big a problem on your glands and organs as if you were taking an anabolic steroid. You've got to be very, very careful not to overdo a health food product just as you do anything else in life. Your body can only handle so much, and that's it. I have a question way in the back. Yes?
Sometimes your schedule doesn't allow for food preparation. Those products that you're talking about, would you agree that they're a good substitute if you cannot get something else?
Yeah, he made the comment. Yes, I'm not knocking health foods. I have my own line of health foods. I sell it all over the United States, so I'm not telling you that health foods are not a good idea, and I'm not telling you that a protein food supplement isn't a good idea, but if you listen very, very closely, it says it's a protein food supplement. It's to supplement your diet. So if you're having problems getting up late, you're not eating properly, a food supplement is just fine. Well, I'm saying take a pound of that per day is probably not a smart thing to do. That's what I'm trying to do. Use everything in moderation, that's the answer. Your weight training, everything about you should be done in moderation, in my opinion. You have another question?
Yeah, one more question. Could you explain the effects of cardiovascular exercise on muscle growth, fat loss, etc.?
He made the comment, could I explain the difference cardiovascular training on muscular growth and fat loss and so on? I can to a degree, but there again, it's a long and consuming very type of a thing to understand so everybody, but what you should theoretically do is on the bicycles and stuff that you're riding or anything you're doing for cardiovascular training, you should get into what they call your target heart rate. Now everybody's target heart rate changes. As you're younger, your target heart rate may be 130 beats per minute to burn fat. As you grow older, maybe like Mr. Montgomery here, maybe 110 beats per minute. He could do the same job because your whole metabolic rate slows down. And by staying on the bike, pedaling along like this, those types of training, you would burn more fat in your diet. But if you're looking for the difference between cardiovascular training and resistance weight training, you could probably do the same amount doing just resistance weight training. As an example, if a person gets on a stationary bicycle, like Skibo bought a new recumbent bike the other day, if any of you are using this bike and you sit on that bike every day, 30 minutes a day, and you pedal away at 100 beats per minute or whatever it may be, you're cranking away, you will lose some fat to begin with. But your body then commences to acclimate so well to that particular workload, after a period of time, you're virtually wasting your time sitting on that bike 30 minutes per day. You'd be better off to get on a stair climber, go out and walk, do anything else, but just don't keep doing the same cardiovascular workout day after day after day. You'll no longer continue to respond. Yes, Mr. Montgomery.
Bill, on that same line, don't you find it necessary to change your workout very regularly? Your body gets used to whatever it is, and your progress slows down.
Yeah. He made the comment, is the same thing goes with your resistance weight training. You should change your training programs all the time as well. You should probably change every 2 or 3 months, at least that much, maybe every 6 weeks, change the programs around it. Change your sets, change your repetitions, change all that. It's not a good idea because your body does acclimate to work weights. Yes?
What would be the best amount of reps to do, like when you're training for mass?
The best amount of reps, in my opinion, to train for mass is probably as low as 6, maybe between 6 and 8, but no less than 6, and no more than 8 or 10 at the most. Yes?
You mentioned earlier about cholesterol, that was not a concern of yours. Is cholesterol overblown as a bad thing, or is it because you're a vegetarian and you don't get cholesterol from any other source?
Yeah, he made that I wasn't concerned about my cholesterol. Well, I'm not really concerned about my cholesterol because I keep all the animal fat out of my diet, other than the dairy products that I do eat, and I don't smoke, I don't drink. I load up on vitamin C. I try to keep as much stress out of my diet or my life as I possibly can. So even though my cholesterol is high, it's not one of my bigger concerns in life. Yes, it's because of my eating habits and my lifestyle. But people should be concerned about their cholesterol level. Yes. Yes. Yes, sir.
You believe that everybody's body more or less has a natural maximum limit that you can get to in weight training, and if you try to push beyond that, are you increasing your risk of injury?
That's an excellent question. He made the comment, do I believe that everybody has a maximum they can reach, and if you commence to push beyond that, doing more and more than your body can handle, are you more prone towards injury? And of course the answer is yes. I really mean this. The thing that's going to throw most of us people in this room out of the sport of bodybuilding or a wellness program is that we get bored with our exercises and we end up injuring ourselves. If you're bored with what you're doing, you injure yourself and you can't exercise, you're out the door, and it's very, very difficult to start back. So the common sense is just, I would probably work between 80 and 85 or 90% of my maximum effort at all time. And I don't believe to train to failure. I think that's a giant mistake. And I don't try to see how many singles I get in my training anymore. That doesn't impress me at all anymore. I just can't do it. My skeletal structure just won't handle it. And another thing today is very important is to training to failure. Mike Manchester, he trained to failure on all of your exercises until you just have to have some guy pull the bar off your chest. And a lot of people today feel that's just the only way that they should train. And my comment is that that's a foolish thing, the way to train, simply because if you do 5 or 6 or 10 exercises and you fail every time you do it and you walk out the door, and I said to Chris, how'd you do today? He said, geez, I failed 10 times in a row, Bill, I feel like $1 million. How can you psychologically make progress from failure after failure after failure? The comment is to leave something in the gym every day so you can go back and pick it up and do better than you did the day before. Never less, but always more. Then you'll continue to stay down the skivos and be back here another 10 years. Yes?
You said that if you're on the road, you work, your whole body. If you were at home, how many body parts would you work?
If I'm on a regular schedule on my body part, I would try to work my body at least twice a week, but preferably 3 days per week, my whole body 3 days per week. It seems to be best for me. And I try to do maybe anywhere between 12 and 15 sets per muscle group 3 days per week. So a total of maybe like 30, 35 sets per muscle group on a weekly basis. That's what I do. Yes, Chris?
When you're on your regular schedule, like whatever, what time do you train and why do you train at that time?
Okay. I told you I was relatively weird. Well, I work out in a great big barn behind my house in Medford, Oregon. I mean, a little town of 2,000 or 3,000 people. And I start training. I get up every morning at 2:30 in the morning, and I start training at 3:30 in the morning. And people ask me, why the hell do you do that? the bottom line, what else is to do in Medford, Oregon at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning? And so I do it automatically. I've done it for year after year. And believe it or not, I have probably more training partners who are willing to get up at 3:30 in the morning and train with me. Otherwise at 8 or 9 o'clock, no one would be there. At 3 o'clock, everybody's there. So it's weird, and people love weird things. But it's not normal. Like I say, people wouldn't live my lifestyle.
What time do you go to bed?
There you go. Another good question. Around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm in bed. I'm a creature of habit. It's terrible. Yes, sir.
You mentioned vitamin C. How much do you take a day?
He asked about vitamin C. How much I take? About 200 milligrams or more per day. So that's not a lot, but it's enough. And I take vitamin C with when I travel today. I have it in my briefcase. I take it wherever I go. Yes, sir.
Have you always been a self-motivated person, or did you have someone early in your life that kind of motivated you to get into the sport and stay with it?
He made the comment, have I always been a self-motivated individual? I think I probably have been a self-motivated individual, but if it hadn't been for 2 or 3 people in my life that I've met along the way, I'm sure I wouldn't be here today as talking to you about anything to do with fitness.
What's, Kathy, you talk about people get bored with it, that's the reason they drop out.
Yes.
You've never experienced that in 55 years.
No. He made the comment that people become bored training, so they drop out, and I haven't experienced it all my years of my life. And why? Because my weight training is the only thing I do for myself all day long. And why do I really get up very early in the morning to train? I love me so much, I'm going to take care of me before I take care of you. The bottom line is, if I don't love me, I can't love you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get up and make myself as best I can possibly be, do everything I want to do for myself, and if there's 22 hours left over, I'll share it with the rest of the world, but I refuse to give the world 24 hours a day. I will not do it. And that's why I don't get bored, because it's quality time, and if someone's up there training and fooling around with me, I'll ask them not to train with me or leave, because I just don't want to fool these guys. Because they're taking away from me, and I don't have the time to give. Yes, sir?
If you was going to train someone at home, what are the best equipment that you use?
Okay, that's another good question. You asked if we were going to train at home, what would be the best equipment to use? If I were you, I'd get myself a good power rack. I'd get myself an Olympic set. I'd get myself a multi-purpose bench that went from an incline to a flat bench to a decline. You'd probably be home free. Just that, a power rack, barbell, incline, flat, decline bench.
Well, I was speaking more of if you were going to someone's house who didn't have any equipment.
Okay. Then as a personal trainer, if you went to a person's house and you didn't have equipment as a personal trainer, you got a giant problem. You can only get so many push-ups, and those Purex bottles only go so far, and then you got yourself a problem. So I would suggest to the individual, if you're really going to get into this, you're going to pay me that kind of money. Why don't you invest another $200 or $300 and go out and get yourself some equipment that I can actually help you with? And it's just that they do this, or you're going to waste your time with these individuals. They just won't do it. You'll lose them as a client. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I hope when I'm 67, I'm still training like you are. But are you still making gains in your lifts now, or at what point in time do you stop making gains? You're thinking, well, you're such an age, your business yet getting stronger.
Okay, that was a good question. She said that, is there a time in your life when you think that you're not making any gains, and am I still making gains? The question is, no, I'm not making gains. I'm treading water like everybody else. I'm about ready to drown every day. But I have an ego that's the same as it was when I was a little teeny kid. It won't go away. I still want to do the best I can with what I have to work with. And so maybe that is gains. And maybe the way that you can determine this is go to a class reunion. I have a class reunion coming up pretty soon, and I'll look at myself compared to everybody else. And if I can still walk up and down and look pretty good in their wheelchairs, I'm doing pretty well. So look at the peers, and that's it.
Bill,
Yes.
you mentioned in the earlier, I don't have your latest book, but in an earlier book you made a comment that impressed me. You said that if you're even holding your own as you're aging, that you really are making progress, because you look at your contemporaries and they're not even getting out of bed. It's a strain for them.
He made the comment that if you are holding your own, you're still making progress, and this is very true. I'm going to tell you a little story about one of the worst members I had in all the 30-some years that I was in the gym business. His name was Alan Martin. He was a Lutheran minister. And Alan came to my health club when he was 40 years old. His wife brought him in because the guy was in lousy shape, and she thought the guy was going to die on her. They didn't have enough money put away, so she wanted to keep this guy around a little bit longer. So she stuck him on me, and she wanted this guy to get in good shape. And Alan Martin was one of the worst members I'd ever had in my club. I get him on a bicycle, whatever, and I say, now, Alan, we got to ride the bicycle with no intention whatsoever for 5 minutes. Well, he'd ride for 3 and he'd stop. I say, Alan, was that 5? Yeah, that was 5, Bill. I say, okay. The guy was a Lutheran minister. So we go on, we counting repetitions. We get to 8, I wanted to do 9 or 10, he stops at 8. This goes on and on and on. I got to the point where I couldn't handle Alan, so I gave him to my brother. My brother handled the guy. He couldn't handle the same thing. This guy was just cantankerous. Everything I wanted to do, he would do something just different, just to make us mad. This went on year after year after year. And finally, just like Skibo, on his 10th anniversary, he came to the gym one day and he said, Bill, he said, I've got to talk to you. And I said, okay. I said, fine. We walked in the office and he said, I'm going to quit. And I said, well, maybe your prayers haven't been answered, but my prayers have been answered. This guy's out here. He said, I'm going to quit training. So I said, well, why? He says, well, he said, I'll tell you why. He said, I've made no progress whatsoever. He said, now, I've been here for 10 years, haven't I? I said, yes, Alan, you've been here for 10 years. And he says, I haven't done exactly everything that you've told me to do, but I have been coming down regular. And I said, yes, that's true, Alan, you've been coming down regularly. And he says, I've made no progress whatsoever. I'm the same person now as I was when I came in here 40 years and when I was 40 years old. So I said, well, wait a minute, Alan. I said, you're now 50, and you're the same man now as you were at 40? I said, isn't that progress, Alan? The guy wrote me out a check for another year's membership. Because it was progress. I should have kept my mouth shut and would have lost it. Don't make the same mistake I made, Skibo. Anybody else?
You mentioned in your book, Bill, that you try to eat organically grown fruits and vegetables, and that the prepared foods, how all the minerals and vitamins are maybe boiled away. I'm just wondering, to what extent does Mrs. Pearl, where does she buy her groceries? Does she have to go to a health food store? Because she can't get it at A&P, can she?
No, Bob, thank you for the question. No, we're not quite as radical now. We've changed. I mean, after a while, it gets to the point where it just isn't worthwhile. I just take my chances like everybody else. But we do try to get fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. I would rather have a fresh fruit or vegetable rather than frozen. And we're not quite as bad as we were, as we'll say, 15 or 20 years ago. I'm mellowing, for my wife's sake, if nothing else. So but I'm not doing that anymore. But I will eat eggs, but if I can get a fertile egg over the industrial egg, I'll eat the fertile egg. And if I can get someone who's making me good homemade bread rather than bread out of a store, I'll eat that bread. And same thing with the soups and everything else. But my wife is very good about that. Yes. Yes, in the green.
I just want to know what you do about your flexibility.
What do I do about my flexibility? Can you see? Probably a darn little. You can tell by looking at her, doesn't it? She's our aerobic instructor. I know you've got your eye on me, don't you? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I ride a bicycle maybe 15 or 20 minutes a day, or a treadmill or something such as this. And I look at it as a bit of aerobic, and I try to stretch, but I don't do a good job at it. And I'm not a good student when it comes to things such as this. And I'm only on the bike because my wife says I should be on the bike. So, but I'm not a good student. I'm not a good student at all. But I should take more time on flexing, and I should take more time on aerobic classes. But then again, I'll go one step further. I got to justify what I'm telling you. Let's just theoretically say a person like Chris and I trained this morning, and he and I trained at a very fast clip today. We probably did 30 or 40 sets in, I guess, an hour and a half, don't you think, Chris? And I wouldn't be surprised that our pulse rate wasn't up around 120, 125 beats per minute for maybe an hour and a half. When you're talking about aerobic training, I wonder if it's any more important that we got our aerobic heart rate up to that beat and sustained it for an hour and a half, doing a resistance weight training program rather than aerobics class, and I don't think Mother Nature cares one way or the other. What do you think? Am I right or wrong?
I just find as I get older, I feel the need to do more stretch and flexibility. It feels good. So
I think if we do make a mistake, and if I can look back in all the years of training, and I've made a lot of mistakes, but my mistake is I probably haven't spent as much time stretching as I should have. That is a definite mistake I've made. But I'm almost too old to rectify it. Yes?
Over the years, have you had any problems with joints?
He asked over the years have I had any problem with joints. Yes, something on me hurts every day. Like I say, if my elbow hurts, I go out and hurt my knee and it goes away. If I got a bad shoulder, I hurt my other. Pardon?
You don't take anything for it?
No, I try to work around it. I never try to work through an injury. I always try to work around an injury. But the thing of it is, keep coming regardless. If you hurt your shoulder, there's nothing wrong with your legs. You can still do abdominal exercises. Keep coming to the club. Don't let some muscle group that you're hurting on, like a biceps or whatever you mean, pull you out of coming to the health club. There's other parts of your body that are working just fine. Work what you can. Yes, ma'am. Mary.
Many times people who are bodybuilding or really working on their strength training are afraid to do cardiovascular or aerobic activity. What do you have to say about that?
She said a lot of guys who are training for strength type movements are afraid to do a lot of cardiovascular training, and you're talking or anything. Well, probably for strength training, it is not conducive to what they're attempting to do. So I don't blame them. I mean, I don't think Joe is going to get on a bicycle and ride that thing 2 or 3 hours before he does his bench presses. I can tell you that for sure. All Joe's interested in getting that guy off that weight down his chest and pushing the sucker back up and getting in the rack. That's all we care about. So we have a different philosophy than most people.
Do you think that would hurt them if they did some cardiovascular?
If they're training for strength and only strength, that's the only thing they have, and they're doing a lot of, and James is shaking his head, yes, it would hurt their ability to become strong, yes. Yeah. I think we're so in a world today where we're such a specialized group, we're trying to get, like Joe's doing bench press with 400 and 500 pounds. I'm sure a man his age, that's phenomenal. And it's such a specialty lift. To be good at that, that guy has got to be a specialist on that Olympic lift or the particular bench press, and that's it. You just don't have time for anything else if you want to be a world champion. And I'm sure Chip can tell you the same thing when it comes to what he's doing with bobsledding. And this man is probably in the best condition of anybody in the room, and this guy is a real true athlete. But he probably trains for what he wants to do, and specifically toward that. And you run a lot, probably, Chip, because of what you have to do when you're bobsledding and so on. But
as far as sprints, power movement,
yes.
plyometrics, 30 to 60 sprints. I'm going to get to 30 meters, that's all my job is. I don't have to run 200 or 400.
Yeah.
I just do short sprints and plyometrics.
Chip made the comment because of his bobsledding, All he has to do is get that sled started down the road for about 30 meters, so he's going to run 30 meters and that's it and quit, so he's going to practice running 30 meters and stop. And I can understand that very easily. Yeah. You become a specialist in what you do. Yes, ma'am.
When you competed, did you defeat carb load or did sodium depletion?
She made the comment when I competed to be carbo load and do sodium depletion and so on. And no, again, I think that is a very dangerous thing to do. If you're, as an example, if you're training for a physique contest and you're watching your diet very, very closely to get down to where you want to be, I can't imagine why some person would want to 3 or 4 days before the contest do something totally contrary to what they've been doing to prepare themselves for the contest. It just really doesn't make sense. It's like you're saving money to buy an automobile and you go out and spend it going to Reno, Nevada, and blow it on a slot machine. It just doesn't work. I would stick on the same type of a diet that you're on to get you where you want to go right up to the day of the contest. I wouldn't change it all. Yes, ma'am.
The hardest thing seems to be, and I know I've had that problem too and with other people, is to get them motivated to sort of go on a diet and get exercises and go in.
She made the comment the hardest things for her and many other people is to become motivated to go on a diet than do the exercise. But just really, if you really want to truly enjoy life, I think you should probably spend some quality time on yourself every day. I mean, you and your husband, I'm sure, worked very, very hard to get where you are today. You're probably in the point where you can enjoy life more than ever before. Why let some illness or some handicap prevent you from doing this? And the only way you can do this is to stay active as you possibly can and take as much pride in yourself as you possibly can and be as beautiful as you can till the day you die. And that's what a lot of us, Mr. Montgomery, that's what he's hoping to do. So, so I would suggest you do the same. Yes, Miriam?
Don't you feel, or do you feel, that this mindset or this positive attitude has a great deal of good effect on the success of your program as opposed to, how do you, like if somebody came in with a lot of anger and was lifting weights, what would?
She made the comment, what is my attitude towards positive attitudes and so on, what it can do in a person's life. I think that if you're going to succeed in everything in life that's important to you all, that it's got to be done on a positive attitude. I've never, ever seen anybody make or do anything successful thinking negative thoughts. Nobody. I don't know who it is. I don't think two wrongs make a right, or a right make a wrong, whatever those type of things. You've got to be right to make rights. You've got to be wrong to make wrongs. So my comment is you should probably sit down and tell yourself what you're going to attempt to do with yourself, set short-term goals that lead to long-term goals, then spend the time on yourself to achieve those particular goals. But never start something that you don't finish. As an example, I see a lot of guys that say, I'm going to start training 2 times a day, and I'm going to train at 2 hours, 2 times a day, I'm going to do all this stuff, I'm going to get in phenomenal shape. And I say, well, why? Well, I want to get in good shape. I said, well, if you can't hold it till the day you die, why bother? Don't even start because you're going to fail. You're going to get off of it, so don't do that. Always to attempt to work within your means of what you're physically capable of doing and do it with a positive attitude. I want to thank all of you for coming. I hope I haven't bored you silly. I'm going to stand around. I'm going to be here the rest of the day, and if anybody would like to talk to me on anything on a personal basis, I'll be more than happy to do so. But I really, truly I honestly feel this is probably the largest crowd I've ever drawn at a seminar. I can't believe it. But I thank you for coming out, and like I say, thank God for the rain.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and I wanted to thank Cliff and Linda Nobles for the sound equipment, and I'd like to thank Tom Mason from Ridall for all these chairs so everybody can sit down. And I want to say a special thanks to our staff. I want Mike Caruso, Megan Temple, Wendy Wise, Mike Kerr, Angel Churchwell, Brian DeVinny, Brooke, Bryn, Erica. Also like to thank Sid, Brian, and Seth. None of this would have been possible without you. So I want to thank everybody for all your help and all your dedication, and thanks, Rosemary. And if I've left anybody out, I'm really sorry. But be sure everybody register in the back. We got some door prizes we're going to be giving away. We also have lots of food, so everybody eat up. Thanks to Bob in the bagel shop. And let Bob know how wonderful those sandwiches are and the fruit. He did it all. So thanks everybody for coming out. And let's give a big hand to Mr. Pearl. He just did a wonderful job.